Good morning, everyone. I'm Christine Boney, and today I'm going to answer questions. Number one, Paris deploys the love language of lyric in terms of both ironic and urgent to depict the ecological violence and displacement wrought by fossil capitalism. In so, he rescales lyric address to consider shared and uneven vulnerability in a time of planetary danger where an assertion of love becomes inextricably bound to questions of communal survival. Paris transfigures Neruda's image of natural fertility and erotic renewal into scenes of devastation, forced climate migration, disrupted migratory patterns, severe storms, extractions, effects, intricate ecosystem. Number two, for Ghosh, the realist novel failures to portray such dynamic is tied to its constitutive conventions and representational mode, which themselves reflect broader social norms with capitalist modernity that make climate change causes and effect difficult to perceive. Ghosh raises key border points of the need to new reimagined forms of literary and cultural practice in response to intensifying biospheric change, to poetry as a site where such reflections might be in fact to be discoverable. And the realist novel, with its emphasis on plausibility and routine, has evaded certain image and confrontation with the complex meaning of planetary ecological crisis, poetry's representational capacities, mode of parasis, scale shift, address, compassions, expansions, temporal play are particularly Anthropocene means and explore how a series of contemporary American poets reimagined the task and meaning of poetry in response to the epochal transformations, most broadly organized. As Lynn Keller has argued in her study, Recomposing Ecopoetics North American Poetry of the Self-Conscious Anthropocene, the widespread recognition of the Anthropocene concept has fostered imaginative shifts from restraint of nature poetry towards more experimental practices. At the same time, current poets turn to long-standing poetic forms and mode, reconsidering how lyric compression, documentary composition, rhetorical address, epic expansiveness, and speculative worlding might be repurposed to reflect on biospheric change. Across these formally diverse poetic words, we see investigations of various scales, temporal, spatial, systematic, which dynamics and effects planetary change appear. Number 4, issues that humanity currently faces: climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. Each of these issues has its own causes and effect, and each issue needs to be resolved if we are have viable future in this planet. In scientific concept has been widely disseminated in and explored by scholars in environmental humanities as well as by artists, poets, and other cultural practitioners. Considering the ways of this concept raises new concerns for literary scholars. Tobias and Minelli and Jesse O. Taylor write in their introduction to Anthropocene reading. Literary history in geologic times, the Anthropocene provides an opportunity for literary studies to test and transform its method by examining how symbolic domain might not index historicity that exists the human social relation and encompasses planetary flows of energy matter. The third Anthropocene concept offers the means of attending the planetary time and system, reframing from paradigms of humanistic discipline to account of these planetary dynamics in a more central way. Anthropocene concept afford new artistic and critical emphasis on deeper or inhuman time, on forms of non-human matter or life in intricate workings of complex interconnections. And at the same time, it draws attention to the entangled histories and coexistence of human and natural system. Number 5, Harriet Mullen's Urban Tumbleweed Notes from a Tanker Diary draws on a Japanese form of tanka, link a three-line stanza to convey the web of relations and the deep-seated disparities that comprise LA ecology. Unfolding as a series of interconnected poems, the volume develops a textual constellation of moments and scenes from Mullen's daily walk across the varied reigns at the city. Urban Tumbleweed explores the everyday entanglements of urban ecology, from two seagulls fighting in an in and out parking lot of hamburger burn to hummingbirds along landscape flowers, helicopters and freeway smog and recycled water. Millen draws on Tanka's traditional juxtaposition to bring together divergent vantages and a mage develop unexpected connections between seemingly disparate scenes. This is the dislocation when Millen has a particular eye for humorous paradoxical aspect of LA environment. Trees are cultivated for show while fruit is left rot. An urban rooster crosses a road during rush hour at market stock with imported vegetables. No California produce can be found. Her poems detail intricate moments of beauty and pleasure that connected of non-human realms. Hummingbird alters its course, zooming closer to check out giant hibiscus flowers only in red summers. Millen's meditation on urban ecology offer poetic insight into Ching's claim about livability as fundamental questions of Anthropocene life. At the most fundamental level, these interlinked pieces meditate on shared elements of shelter, habitat, food, and sustaining resources, emphasizing the mutual dependency among species. Millen also draws sustained about attention to questions of belonging and exclusion, as pieces across the volume portray scenes of homelessness, racial violence, and forced migration. Thank you.